Tonight's September 5th, 2023. It's great to have everybody here. I'd like to call the meeting to order if we could, starting at 7:05 p.m.
Okay.
Who would like to accept those times? We need to make a motion to accept those? Okay, I'm sorry.
No, not to start.
Okay, first item of business is approval of the minutes from the May 9th meeting. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at them?
Yes.
Brian, can I just, what we talked about before we start?
Sure.
I had asked Kurt and Brian if it was okay. I think we should start tonight's meeting just by a small acknowledgement to Betty Heaney, who are a colleague and friend who we lost. She added a lot to this meeting. She was totally dedicated to WMNR as a listener and as a great supporter. Her and her husband together were great supporters. And I just think we should start the meeting. I asked these guys if it was okay. I thought we should start the meeting by at least acknowledging Betty's contribution to the commission and her years of service, and the fact that she's the second most people that called me on the air and would thank me for my service, which I think is very, very nice. But she was a great friend of WMNR's and a great supporter of this commission. So a nod of thanks to Betty before we start is appropriate. So
I couldn't agree more, Fred. What a wonderful human being and what a vibrant personality in our group.
Oh yeah.
And as we learn more at her services about all the contributions she made to the community, I was just in awe. Things that I didn't know that were shared so beautifully. It was probably the nicest tribute or celebration of life that I've ever been a part of. I was so glad to be able to be there and so glad that I was part of her world.
And Will Deschamps made an excellent talk and brought WMNR into it very, very well by his presence, of course. And they were friends. They were fast friends for a long time. And when she came to try out for the chorus or the choir or whatever, so it was very appropriate to have him be part of that as well. And he did an excellent job. So it was quite nice. But we'll miss her, of course. She was kind of a fun person to have on the committee. So
and she'd pull out all the stops, if she couldn't drive at night, she'd have Kurt come over and pick her up or me go pick her up. If she was having trouble with some little technical piece, she would work tirelessly with Mark until she got it ironed out. Most people wouldn't continue giving back to their community or their organizations that at her age, and I didn't realize that how important it was to her until really at the services when I saw the station referenced over and over and over.
Yeah.
I was completely moved by that, and I'm so blessed to have had her in our lives, and even just when we were sitting there over at town hall, she'd take a moment and put her hand on mine to let me know to either be calmed down or to some level of acceptance of something that I said or did. It was a warm feeling that was very much like family. Like I remember my mom treating me with the same sort of tenderness that you just don't find much anymore.
Yeah.
So thank you, Fred, for bringing that up tonight. Anybody else have a few words they'd like to share?
No, she was when back before COVID, when we used to have phone answers, not only did she donate regularly, and not only did she call in and help with Will with many of his mystery music quizzes, but she would come in to help answer the phones. There's so many people who listen to WMNR and they don't live locally, and whether they have time or not, we don't get a chance to know them well. But Betty, we really did get to know well. And as you've said,
Yeah.
she's just a lot of fun. And I even remember one of these meetings 2 or 3 years ago, I talked about our Tanglewood broadcast, and she said, "What Tanglewood broadcast? Which Tanglewood?" And of course, she was just pulling my leg, doing it with a little smile on her face. And yeah, she was the kind of thing that makes Monroe great. And
Yeah.
she helped make Monroe great as well, WMNR great as well.
Thank you guys. Yeah, she will definitely be missed. She left an indelible mark in our hearts and our town, our station. I you a little choked up just thinking about it. But thank you, Fred, for making sure we made that right up front. And makes it kind of hard to go back into business stuff, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But she would have the show go on, so I will continue with my responsibilities if that's all right. Okay. Looking at the agenda, we've called the meeting to order. We've moved on to approval of minutes for the special meeting on May 9th. There is a vote anticipated for that approval. And I started to ask if everybody had a chance to chat on to look at that. I didn't get the answers. I think I heard Patty, you did,
Yes.
Yeah, yes,
and Fred, you did.
yes.
Jim, were you up to speed on this yet?
No.
But you'll find going forward that Kurt will email out an agenda and minutes from the last meeting and whatnot.
Okay.
So ideally, if you could print them out or take a look at them going into the meetings, if you don't have a chance to review it, we can wait a few moments while you go through it. But going forward, you'll find it's easier if you kind of check it out in your own time.
I think technically, since Jim wasn't present at the meeting, it'd be hard to press to be able to suggest corrections to it.
Sure.
Yeah, but
we will need him to vote in acceptance of them.
well, he could vote to abstain. We'd still, a motion would still pass. And
Would it?
all that
Okay.
stuff.
I
Not that
always
anything
appreciate your guidance.
controversial happened in the meeting, but you know.
Okay.
Mhm.
Jim, are you comfortable with voting to abstain on the vote to accept?
Yes. Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Great. So then who would like to make a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
Well, I motion, there's a lot of technical material in here that I assume is correct. I read through it. I didn't see any typos, but there's a lot of things about some of the cables and things that were being talked about at last meeting. And I would assume those things are correct as Rose took the notes. So I would say,
Yes.
I would say accept the meetings as accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second Pat Panicia, member. I second the motion to accept the minutes as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That would be 4 of us voting to accept the minutes as presented. Thank you kindly.
Fred, just, after Rose typed them up, I did review them in terms of the technical details. To
Yeah, I
make sure
assumed that, yeah, because
that
you
was
would
all correct.
They're not, that was. I
Rose
was
does such a
assuming
thorough job. She covers so much. I almost have to watch what I say because she'll actually,
That's right.
write it down.
True of all the things we say here.
Okay, moving on to the general manager's report. Kurt, would
First,
you like to take
the
that?
financial report for June 30th. Today, of course, being September 5th, we don't have bank reconciled numbers for the month of August, only for July. And since that represents just 1/12 of our fiscal year, and a very small part, because that's a slow part for income, what we always present in the September meeting for review is the final completed numbers for June 30th. You'll see on the report, there's the FY22 actual ending of June 30th, 2022. There was the projected ending for FY23, projected as of April 28th. And then the last column on the right is the actual before any changes by the auditors when they review them this fall of the actual numbers for the for the end of the FY23 fiscal year, which of course ended on June 30th, 23. The looking at the big numbers for the total revenue, the year before we had taken it 822,000. We projected we were going to get 748. We actually got in 859,000. The two numbers in italics, the miscellaneous revenue and the WMNR interest income. The miscellaneous revenue is monies that we took in the end of fiscal year 23 ending June 30th for the Tanglewood trip that we took in July. Late July 30th, if I remember correctly. No, June 30th. No, July 30th. Sorry. July 30th. And that's the 6,800. We took in more income in this fiscal year for that trip. The other thing I'd certainly like to point out that's in italicized is the last number above our total revenue for FY23, the actual ending, was $7,237. We're very fortunate that the town treasurer had taken a look and noticed this spring that our the WMNR's funds, which do have a substantial balance in them, were in a very, very low interest yield account. And he had already switched over the town's other accounts to a much higher interest yielding accounts. So he did that as well for WMNR. And as a result, you can see we've made a substantially a lot more money than we have in the past for WMNR interest income, the last income revenue category before the total revenue. And that number the 7,000 actually just represents so I'd have to look through my my calendar, but it really only represents about 2 months worth of income. So while it's not in the approved budget that was approved back in May 3rd, I imagine our interest income for this next year will be substantially more, much more than even the 7,000. And we're very fortunate to have the current town treasurer notice that and move our funds into a much higher yield account. On the expense side, looking again at the big numbers at the bottom of the second page, we had ended June 30th, 2022 with 700,000 in expenses. We had projected we were going to end with 675,000 and thus run a $73,000 surplus. On that number underneath is net income. We actually ended up running a $759,000 in expenses, but we actually ran $99,000 in excess revenue over expenses. So again, it was a net increase. And there were some additional expenses that we needed to expend, and I went ahead and had us do because I knew we had plenty of money to cover them. That's a brief explanation of the 2 pages to show exactly how we ended June 30th of 2023. Any questions about it?
The remote site operations other was a big noticeable change.
Page 2, remote site operations other. So part of that had to do, not all of it, but part of it had to do with the fact that the new site at Mount Kisco that we're using for our translator there, we didn't get some of the bills for that, for both the installation, we had to put a new antenna up. Those bills and some of the bills for paying the rent there didn't come in until after April 28th. But I don't think they're going to be, there's going to be such a large discrepancy going over into this next year. Remote site operations other will go up a little bit just because the tower rents are going up, and we do have some new sites, which I'll be talking about in the next item on the agenda for the general manager's report.
Okay. Otherwise, it looks great to me. That
Yeah.
questions, Fred, Penny?
No, none.
No.
The interest is huge. We're finding that too. It's anybody that hasn't found interest on any little bits of money they've got should be looking, because it's making a material difference in my life.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, next was an update on WRXC and some other translators. So WRXC is a station with a transmitter in Seymour, even though it's called WRXC Shelton as a city of license. Back in March, the antenna that we've been using for over 25 years failed. We did have finally some new transmission line installed about a month and a half ago. Unfortunately, there's still a problem with the antenna, and I'm trying to work out a date to have them bring their special testing equipment to find out where the problem is. So WRXC is on the air, but with reduced coverage. We have permission from the FCC to have it operate on a different antenna. That approval was just, we filed to extend it. The approval is given 6 months at a time. And hopefully in the next 2-3 months, we'll be able to get WRXC back on its main antenna with its best coverage. The update as far as Old Saybrook, New London, Sag Harbor, East Hampton, it's a repeat of the previous items. Old Saybrook, New London, Sag Harbor are translators operating at 94.5. We're going to be moving them off that frequency to different frequencies. All three are on the same frequency because a new station's coming on the air that will take over the frequency. And I'd hoped to get that done this summer, but I had trouble finding a consulting engineer who could do it in time, who could do it. I was working to find some ones that were less expensive than the one we have been using. Right now, there's a September 1, there was a FCC freeze on any changes, any applications in the band between now and November 11th, because there's going to be a window for other applications for low power FM. So as soon as that the window during which new applications are frozen opens up, then we'll file to start moving them. I'll move the Old Saybrook frequency first because I have an antenna already up that can handle anything on the band, and then we'll start moving the rest. I do have to get them moved in a year because in a year, that's when the new station will be signing on. I'm hoping to get them all moved this Old Saybrook this fall, and New London in the spring. Let's see. C is new aviation lights for WMNR tower at Stepney Elementary. I'd explained them in the last meeting. It's noted in the minutes. We are still waiting for the tower installer who was given the go-ahead to purchase the lights and install them to find time in his schedule. He's the same one that is working on WRXC, and he's very busy. And there aren't a lot of these guys who can climb a couple 100-foot towers and do all this high-flying work. So there's no timetable for the new aviation lights, but I would like to get it done sometime in the next 6 to 9 months.
Great. How about moving on to, or do we cover enough the Hartford market?
D, no, I haven't talked about that yet. That's new news. It's not old news. So yesterday, so WMNR has a small transmitter in Hartford, only 10 watts, but it's on a very high hill. So you can hear it all the way from, it covers quite a big area for the 10 watts because it's on a very high hill. And we have a fair number of listeners to it and listeners who donate. Beginning yesterday, the main signal for classical music in the Hartford area was a station out of Amherst, Massachusetts. And they were broadcasting classical music during the day between 9 and 3 and late at nights after 10 o'clock and on the weekends. Well, they've now changed their main signal so that it's no longer doing classical. So WMNR, while there are other signals that do 3 or 4 hours of classical music in the Hartford area from 4 p.m. until 8 p.m. or 8 p.m. until midnight, we're the only station that's bringing you classical music all day, every day in the Hartford area. So that's a little news. There's no way, unfortunately, we can increase the power of our signal, but we're lucky to have it. And everyone knows when WMNR is not going to change away from what it's doing.
Makes us the dominant player in that space, I guess.
Pardon?
Makes us the dominant player in that space, really.
Yeah, I mean, back in 2006, Connecticut Public Radio used to carry classical music during the day in Hartford. It stopped. Now in 2023, WFCR and Amherst stopped. We're not going to stop.
Was it UMass, Kurt? What that was?
Yes.
Yeah, was it?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Now, a couple of years ago, UMass had cut an operating agreement with a separate entity. So PBS, Public Television Springfield, and Public Radio Amherst for the Springfield market, they've now let their signals be managed by an outside third-party group, which consists of the previous manager of WFCR, and they decided to make this switch was effective yesterday.
Nice. Okay. Do you want to move on to discuss the tunein.com?
Yes, I just want to let you guys know, as an idea, you know, it's one thing to have broadcast signals, but maybe I'm told sometimes 10% of the station's audience can be listening via the internet, computers, telephones, smart speakers. July 1, we were shocked because and so what happens is the various streaming services, whether it's a Amazon smart speaker, whether it's a Google smart speaker, whether it's an Apple smart speaker, they all use a third-party service to collect what web addresses are used to stream a service. And that third party is called tunein.com. And beginning July 1, on Apple and on Amazon devices, when you said play WMNR, play WMNR, play WMNR Fine Arts Radio, the smart speaker started playing local ads, whether for Big Y, Hartford Healthcare, CW Post University, and we did not insert them. We do not get any money from them. What I did was arrange with our streaming provider to create an Amazon Alexa skill for smart speakers. So now we're having to tell people that if they have an Amazon Alexa smart speaker, whichever brand, there are multiple versions of them, that they need to say, Alexa, enable WMNR Fine Arts Radio skill. And then it does that. And then next time you say, Alexa, play WMNR Fine Arts Radio, it connects directly to us. We provided our internet streaming web address to Amazon. It no longer goes through tunein.com and no longer plays any ads. it's just another wrinkle. You wake up one day and all of a sudden there's another fire you have to put out where you didn't know anything about a smart speaker skill kit that you had to pay for, set up correctly, and then have work. But anyway, that's happening, and we're going to try to hopefully get rid of ads on ads are not there on Google smart speakers, and very few people, fortunately, have Apple smart speakers. But I'm going to talk to our streaming provider about if there isn't something that can be done for us on that account for those folks. If you
Kurt,
tune
if I
in,
can ask you just to repeat that, when I was at the Cape last week, I had two WMNR listeners mention the ads that on their Alexa speakers. So I heard you say enable WMNR Fine Arts Radio skill.
correct.
Okay, and after they do that, they should be in the clear for the next login.
Well, yeah, only if they say Alexa play WMNR Fine Arts Radio. Because if you
Okay.
say Alexa play WMNR, you get the ads. If you say Alexa play Fine Arts Radio, you get the ads. But if you say Alexa play WMNR Fine Arts Radio, you don't get the ads. And those other words should work as alternate invocation words. And I work with our streaming provider to set that up with Amazon, but so far it's not working. But I'm going to continue to work on that. And we're going to be running announcements telling people on the air and on our website about doing that. It's more money we have to spend, but it's a new way. You have to, how should I put it? You can't assume that people are going to be nice on the digital world. If they could take advantage of you and make some money, such as tunein.com is, they will. And so you have to try to work around them.
Right, because we're trying to stay apolitical. I mean, you could put political ads, you could put anything in there if you're the third party that's
Well,
providing.
it isn't politics. We're supposed to be advertising free. We're supposed to be listener supported.
True.
So
Right.
one of the ads is for Tom that I've heard is Tom Hanks promoting his Boss 66 channel on tunein.com radio for an online on-demand stream. Nothing against Tom Hanks. He's a nice guy, but we're supposed to be commercial free.
Right.
And every time you log in, you end up getting those. So yes, it's another new thing we have to deal with, and I'm trying to deal with. And so far we have it partially dealt with, but I've got to deal with it some more.
Very powerful.
Hmm.
And I'm finding, I play with a lot of vehicles. I'm finding now they're dumbing down the FM antennas in some of the vehicles so that they're not as strong. And they're playing games. Some of the vehicles that have XM in them are not set up because they're leaving an antenna out because they think that with Apple CarPlay, you should just plug in your phone and run it right through there. And for a guy that likes vehicles and that likes music, I'm finding that the direction that's going and the little games that they're playing are adding additional nails to the coffin of FM in a way that I'm not happy about.
Yeah, it's AM too. I've read in the magazines how the AM and FM broadcasters of any kind, commercial, non-commercial, are worried because the car manufacturers seem to be making it harder and harder for people to listen to AM or FM in a car. They push it down a level or two in a menu, make it harder for it to happen.
Yep. Okay, any questions on that? No, we move on then. You want to speak a little about the volunteer dinner?
Well, every year we, except for 2 years during COVID, we have an annual WMNR volunteer and staff dinner. We had one last year in September, and we're working on a place to have one again this fall, maybe in October. Just wanted to let you know we're working on that again. One of the things that's unusual, I just want to make sure I paint the picture. We have a lot of broadcasters and staff, and we're on the air from 24 hours. We're not manned 24 hours, but people could come in at different times and different days. Some people come in once a week. Some people come in more often, but a lot of times they don't see other broadcasters or see all the staff. So both as a thank you to the volunteers and as a way to have the volunteers feel supported by the staff and be able to meet them again. We have all over the many years always tried to have an annual get together, which ends up being a dinner because people drive from far away and we don't want to be late at night. So we try to have it be a Sunday afternoon or a Saturday afternoon somewhere. And I just wanted to let people know, let the commission know we're working on that again and have it keep going. First, last year we had the party wasn't part our 40th anniversary. It was particularly special. Since we started classical in '82, so this year will only be our 41st, but in this case, it'll just be our annual. Just want to let you know we're doing it and the benefits everyone gets from it. And of course, all the commissioner members will be invited if they're able to attend. We'll make sure we send out the invitation, let us know, and so we can save a seat for you and all that stuff.
We're all wondering. Thank you for including us. Very thoughtful.
Well, it's again part of it. Obviously, people, a lot of broadcasters know Fred. One or two of them knew Betty or heard Betty, of course, on the radio. But just a chance to keep everything working well here at the station, considering we've got volunteers from anywhere from Kent, Connecticut, out to Clinton, Connecticut, to we got somebody in Westchester County that comes up once a month. So we're all over.
It's always great to meet other members of the team and the alumni as well. I've never been disappointed going to one of these events. Thank you.
Sure.
Do you want to go over the 50th reunion as well?
Yes, I wanted to make sure that everyone saw, and so I included it. The Town of Monroe Certificate of Commendation for John and Carol Babina. It was presented, and then I also included the article from the Monroe Sun about the event for those that weren't able to get there. And I also, even if you were able to get there, I just wanted to make sure that it was placed in the record that about the station's founding. About all the great things that happened in the first 9 years before we turned into started switching to a classical music station, more classical music. There was classical music always from the beginning, but it was one particular person, just one show once a week. But when we shifted over to more classical and serving a wider region, I wanted to make sure that our founding history and the original goodwill of the station was documented and shared with everyone. Because I didn't show up until '82, but of course I certainly heard plenty about the pre-1982 days. But a lot of folks here didn't know about this. So I wanted to make sure that the commission knew and that it was also in the packet for the record, so to speak.
That's great.
The one thing I'll just say for the minutes is the last paragraph in which I told the reporter, and he wrote it all down. Lots of stations are 50 years old, but there are few with the original founders still involved. There are usually changes in management and ownership, and the original spirit and the goodwill is lost. The goodwill and spirit that they started in 1971, while being on the air since 1973, is still going strong. We didn't lose sight of our original values of integrity and sincerity. So I'll read that. You could take it out of the article, Rose, if you don't want to have to write all down what I said. It's the last paragraph. Want to get that into the minutes and the record.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, no.
That's great. it was a wonderful get together, and it seemed that Carol and John were really moved being recognized. And there were a number of people that I saw there and met there that I knew from outside of the WMNR world, not knowing that they had a connection. People like Dave German. It was another wonderful event. Thank you. I look forward. I haven't actually seen the Monroe Sun article yet myself. I'm looking forward to reading that when I get a chance. It's great to see Bill Batar there. I think he's done a phenomenal job for the town, and he spent time with each of us to get a feel for our thoughts on the station, and it looks like I haven't read it yet, but it looks like he took the time to really speak on our behalf. And we should be aware too that he's struggling.
Right.
He put out a call to the community to say, I don't know how much longer I can do this without some advertising support or membership type of support, or something digitally comparable to a fee for a newspaper. I have yet to figure out what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do something myself, because Monroe really needs a guy like him, and it makes a difference with the station. And if he's I guess he's not registered as a not-for-profit. I don't know what his business entity is.
I believe it's for profit. Yeah.
Even if he doesn't have a profit or enough of profit to support himself, if you think of any way that we can help him out from the station's perspective without doing anything against our charter, I'd be all ears and be happy to listen in one of the next meetings. He really makes a difference. So
Certainly
thank you for that.
does.
You agree, Patty? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Without him, we have nothing. There's no
Right.
way to know anything about what's going on in town, and it's quite scary if you ask me. We used to have the Monroe Courier. At least you'd
Yeah.
know meetings coming up, and you'd have articles and keep you up to breast with what's going on in town. And he's it. I was shocked to see that. I feel very badly if he leaves, we're in trouble. That's the way I feel anyway.
Yeah, I wish we could give him a town job or something, but that's above my pay grade. So
Mm.
I feel very strongly too. So
Mm.
I'd be open to anything that you guys would like to bring up at the station. Okay, moving on to new business. Sure.
I don't have any new business.
Okay. So we're gonna go straight to public participation then?
Sure.
Okay. Is this I don't know how you'd like to handle it, Parker. I'm thrilled to see you here tonight. A letter was written from Fine Arts to the group. I don't know whether Patty and Fred have had an opportunity to read the letter.
Yeah.
If I can, Fred, just for those, Brian, just for those that don't know, Fred knows. But Parker's been a volunteer at the station for what, 18 years, Parker?
This is my 18th year. Yeah, I'm 17
Got
plus.
that right. Yeah, so he's been volunteering as a broadcaster for 18 years. So he's, we know some of us have known him for a very long time. In the last few years, he's also been a Methodist minister in various towns, and we're fortunate to have him as one of the many great broadcasters at WMNR. I won't go into all his background because it's not totally germane, because we have a lot of great broadcasters with a lot of interesting backgrounds, but I just wanted to let everybody know he's a longtime WMNR volunteer.
I used to paint to Parker. I used to see him painting, and I would listen to Parker before I became a broadcaster. I would paint to
I mean,
Parker.
on
So,
Thursday mornings when he was broadcasting, you'd be
absolutely, that
doing
was
your
my time
painting
to
in the
paint.
studio.
So a lot of successful paintings came out of listening to Parker and his selections of music. So, and I trained with him, so I can't say anything negative about Mr. Parker.
So Parker, I guess the goal here tonight is to introduce the commission to Fine Arts Radio, and a letter was written that I did get a chance to look at. Thank you very kindly, but I thought perhaps maybe in your own words you'd like to speak to the group.
I'd be happy to, and it's an honor to be with you. And first and foremost, as we said in the letter, I'd like to thank the commission for all its efforts, for the time, the considerations, all of the gifts to this wonderful organization that you all have made, and as not just in these quarterly meetings, but in between and beyond. And you're a part of the musical glue that kind of keeps us all going, along with Fred and a number of other volunteer broadcasters. It is a genuine joy to be part of the effort to bring art music and other kinds of classic music to the communities that we serve, either through terrestrial radio or online streaming. And I think the earlier agenda item about the 50-year celebration and the recognition of John and Carol speak for itself. It's an amazing legacy of effort, of dedication and love. And I think that those of us who sit on the board of Fine Arts Radio Incorporated are in sync with all of that, and we exist and we dedicate our time and consideration in support of Kurt and the station. And it's a real labor of love, and I could wax eloquent on and on here, but again, thank you commission members, and because we're on a parallel path of loving this station and wanting it to continue, and it takes a village, as we know, to keep on keeping on, as we all know. The Fine Arts Radio board, which I've described, and I list the members in the letter that you received, meets between 1 and 4 times a year, depending on the agenda items. And we have subcommittees, and the 4 officers, which include Jane Stadler and myself as co-chairs, Karen Devonchuk is the treasurer, and Nancy Sudik is secretary. We talk quite regularly, and we have active communication with Kurt and Rose and other members of the WMNR team. So I think we have a pretty good feel of the pulse of what's going on, and that continues ad hoc, between our meetings. We, as the letter says, are trying to make sure that Kurt gets the kind of support that he needs, whether it's sounding board, brainstorming, feedback from the broadcaster community, and other kinds of support that we, as a small nonprofit organization, can provide. And our mission is to support the station. That's why we exist. And we're able to provide certain administrative and other tasks that a 501 can provide to the station, including the liquidation of securities donations to WMNR. We turn them into cash and make sure that they get to the station. That's a regular part of something that that Rose and other people are involved with, and the strategic aspect of how WMNR is doing and where is it going is another thing that we talk about at our board meetings. And John and Carol, of course, and have been part of that recently, and they continue to provide some input. And we are also looking to grow the board and make sure it sustains itself, as some of our members are mature in their years and have served a long time. And and obviously any not for profit board of directors needs to be updated and replenished over time. So we're Jane and I and the other officers are actively involved in that. So that's a little bit of a feel. Again, just like broadcasting as a broadcaster on Thursday morning, serving on the FAR Inc. Board of Directors for the last 6 years has been a labor of love, something that a music lover with my kind of background in business and music really thrives on. And I get a lot back from it as well.
Thank you, Parker. We get a really nice vibe for how you feel about the station. It seems like your heart's really in the right place, and we appreciate all that you contribute. Going forward, how would you like to relate? We've kind of, the last 10 years, we haven't really been in touch between the commission and fine arts. Would you like to see that change, or would you like to keep it the way it is?
I think we have parallel goals, and we're in a support mode in what we do and how we do it. So I absolutely agree that we should have a communication link between FAR Inc. and the WMNR Commission. I always believe the more of us can get more done than just one of us or just a few of us, and so I'd like to continue to have a regular link of connection between FAR and the commission. You guys are well established. You have you have a website with your information. It's readily available. And I know I'm sorry Jane's not here tonight, but I know Jane and I would like to leverage whatever we can by working together.
Jane's been a regular at these meetings from being an employee of the station, and has continued on. I hope she feels that we've always made her feel welcome to sit in on these meetings, even though we have our commission members that are responsible for certain tasks to handle to report back to the town. She has been wonderful and is very welcome, and I'd like you to feel welcome also. So feel free. Kurt sends out notices on the meetings every quarter. He does a great job. Rose supplies all the minutes. We've got good commission members. We didn't get a chance yet to introduce Jim properly yet tonight, and I want to do that before we finish. But I want to make sure that that the hand of friendship has been extended, and that our groups can work together going forward, because we do all have our hearts in the same place, looking for the long-term success of this organization. So thank you.
Brian, I'd like to suggest that maybe quarterly Parker could write a memo, which could be included in the meeting and could be there explaining, for example, how much money Fine Arts Radio has passed through to WMNR, to the town, any activities that FAR has done that directly update on any of the activities that it's taking to benefit, just so it's in writing. In the past, of course, you may not know this, but before 2018 or 19, I lose track. I was actually on the Fine Arts Radio Wing board, so there was no coordination issue. And now that I'm not, just for clarity, Parker could write up a little something so it's in the minutes so everybody knows, okay, here's how much money Fine Arts Radio helped transfer over to WMNR and anything that it might be doing to benefit us. I think it wouldn't hurt to have something brief in writing for the record, so people have a fuller understanding about this strange department of the town of Monroe, the WMNR is. I mean, we serve 1.2 million people. We're not like any other department of the town. 50,000 of them actually listen to us, and they're from throughout Connecticut and other parts. So I think a little bit more of education and illumination doesn't hurt, because I think a lot of folks in the town, and especially in terms of what's on the record, you know, don't really know what we do.
Hey, Jane.
There's Jane.
Hey, don't run off, Jane. You just got here.
Connecting to audio. She's not quite connected yet. She's got video, but she doesn't have audio yet. No.
Okay, then everybody wave.
Have audio.
Hi, Jane.
Jane's got
Hello.
audio now.
Oh,
We said all
Jane's
these
ears
nice
must have
things
been
about you
burning.
a few
So,
moments ago.
yeah. But yeah, I think that's a good idea, Kurt. Jane Kurt just suggested that, like we did in the note that we sent to the commission, on the second page, we talked about some of the current operations and the history of the money transfer between FAR Inc. and WMNR. That perhaps quarterly we could have a very brief update of that, and any headlines of what FAR Inc. has been doing to support broadcast expansion or any other antics that we've been involved with.
That's an excellent idea. We can do that.
Yeah, I like that very much. And I was just saying that you've been here all along and you see exactly what we're doing. I think we're just opening the door a crack to be able to understand more about fine arts. And I welcome Parker to join in with us. Even though you may be the perfect liaison, Parker is always welcome as far as I'm concerned. So
You're here.
I think it's terrific.
I agree with you, Brian, about making sure before we adjourn the meeting, have a welcome to Jim. Of course, we started out by, thanks to Fred, honoring Betty. But of course, Jim was appointed to the vacant position left by Mary McLaughlin, because at that point, Betty hadn't passed yet, or it hadn't. So there's still a vacancy for a Republican appointed a person on the WMNR commission, and I'm going to take a look through our member rolls to see who's donated from the town and see who might be interested and who might be an unaffiliated or a Republican registered voter, just so we could get back up to 5 people on the WMNR commission, which is what it's been authorized for. So if you know of anybody, I doubt Patty knows anybody, but maybe she does. If anybody knows anybody, Fred thought maybe there might be somebody at the church who's Republican or unaffiliated, that the Republicans be willing to.
Yeah, Patty, do you know any unaffiliated?
I'll check around.
yeah.
I'll check.
There
I
is
do
a
know
vice
some.
chair
I do
position.
know some Republicans too.
There is a vice chair position that's open that would be welcome to be filled. And if somebody else would prefer to take the role of chairman, that's open for discussion too. We haven't been going through elections or changes, but I don't want you to feel like I'm hogging up the role. I want everybody to feel like they have a turn. So
I spoke with I talked to Kurt about the guy who was standing next to me when we took the photograph with Kellogg at the Apple Festival last year. He's a well-known Republican in the town. He and his wife are very active. And I offered him the opportunity to join the commission. I didn't, I offered him the opportunity to apply. He said he didn't, he's retired and he's active in our church in St. Peter's. But he said he knew someone and was going to, I talked to him last Sunday and he said he was going to talk to this friend of his who was a Republican in town and mention it to him. So I'll get back to you as soon as I hear something, but.
Great. The Republican Town Committee's website actually has a form that people that are interested in filling vacancies for Republican appointed or elected positions, and they can indicate what group they're interested in applying for. It should be noted that when Jim filled it out, there was not an actual box to check off for WMNR. I had to create a box to write one in for to then be checked off for WMNR commission. But anyway, we're just trying to keep things going and have everybody have it be at full strength, so to speak.
Thank you very kindly. Jim, it looked like you might be trying to say something.
Well, I want to thank you all. Being a new kid on the block, I'm just observing right now, but it's great to have a station like WMNR. It's a lot of the music is so great, and I was listening to John Ryden yesterday before he signed off. He played the Oklahoma, and I haven't heard that in years. And it just songs like this and famous pieces. Another movie, High Society, with Frank Sinatra and Bing Crosby. I mean, it's something that we should treasure and keep these forever, because as we grow older, I kind of worry about the younger generation. Hopefully, classical music will always be here. And again, as a new kid on the block, hope to meet all of you. I know some of you. I know Jane.
Yeah, Jim, you're not a new kid on the block. You've been hanging around WMNR for a long time.
Jim's answered
That's
phones.
right. I was a volunteer. That's right.
Yeah, you answered phones, and you certainly you sing in them. You go to Monroe Congregational Church. You sing in the choir, so you know Betty, you know Will.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I just thought I'd let everybody else know that. So.
Yep. But yeah, it's I miss Betty very much, and we all do, and it's going to take time, really.
It sure will. She left big shoes to fill, and Jim, my opportunity to meet you turned out to be at her services. So that's just one more gift that she gave us. So we'll be forever grateful. She really knew how to bring the community together.
Yeah.
So thank you, Jim. Will you going forward be able to come up with a camera to be able to join in with your smiling face there? And if not, would you like some help with the computer or something?
Yeah, Jim, we do have some laptops that have a built-in camera. We could set it up with Zoom, so you'd be able to see us and we could see you. But give me a call.
Yes.
Let me know, Jim.
Okay.
Call the station tomorrow.
All right.
Before we adjourn, I just want to make sure Jim knows, at the bottom of each of the agendas is a list of the 4 meetings a year that are scheduled. The one in May did not occur on that date because we lacked a quorum, which is why it was May 9th, I believe. And thus it wasn't a regular meeting of the WMNR Commission. It was a special meeting. And then at the next meeting, which will be the first Tuesday in December 5th, we'll then set dates for the meetings in 2024. So Jim, the next meeting is 7 p.m. on Tuesday, December 5th. But that's on the bottom of and if you ever need us to print out and mail you these documents, I could certainly do that. Whatever you need to support you, we're certainly willing to do it.
Yes,
Okay, great.
we
Yeah,
really
thank you.
appreciate you contributing your time, and as a result, we want to help you. I have a computer business. Sometimes I can help with things. Kurt has been wonderful. He does half of my job, it seems, as commission chair by getting you all together and getting all the notes. So thank you, everyone. I really appreciate that. All right, I guess it's time to move over to adjournment.
I'll make a Pat Panicia member. I move to adjourn the meeting at 8:05.
Fred Velarde, second the motion. Commission member.
Great, then the meeting is adjourned and you can stop the recording.